Alright, so welcome back, and in this video we'll talk about the history, something about the history of the internet. Now again, you would say that get to the coding, why these all internet history and all, but again I would like to tell you that it's very important to see what changes have been done in past 20-30 years of the evolution of the internet, and what problems our developers have faced in past, and how those problems have been resolved, and what have been done in this particular course of evolution of the internet, so that being a developer, you should probably know what technologies you need to choose to develop something. So that is the reason this little bit history is required. So I have a picture over here. He's Mr. Sir Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of the World Wide Web, and he invented it in 1989. And he is also called the first web developer, and I'll tell you why he is called so. I'd like to show you a website that is vox.com, and I will share you the link in the description. This particular website gives you a history and the evolution of the internet. The first 1960s or 70s, the internet was there, and it started as a small military project to share the research, so documents in the academics. Initially it was just connecting 2 or 3 universities like Utah and UCLA and other universities. Back in further going ahead in 1970s and 80s, it kept evolving and spreading it. But there was a problem, till 1990s. In the early 90s, there was a problem they were facing, that it was very difficult to share the documents with each and every universities or locations. The reason why, because at every other location, the computers, they work differently. So it's just like if you are communicating between various countries, different countries, with having a different language, so they will have communication problems. So the same thing the technology was also facing, and it was very difficult until Tim Berners-Lee comes in 1995, and in 1989 actually he discovered the World Wide Web, the www. He just said that there should be a standard of communicating with each other. So every computer, every remote computers now can load a website, what you called the website, a web page, which every other computer will understand, will be able to understand the terminology, the language, and that language was HTML. We'll come that part in the later sections. He actually invented a browser, a program that understands the HTML language, and he made the first server where he stored some HTML files. So, and the server has a location as an IP address, so that by going to that particular IP address, any other computer at any place in the world will be able to load that website or load the HTML pages. So this is how he solved the problem of the internet the whole world was facing back from 1960s, right? So finally, what happened, like Tim Berners-Lee has developed the first web browser, the first web server. That is why we called him the first web developer. So let's get back to the diagram, and in this diagram what we had is the Google servers, and the Google server is sending these HTML and CSS JavaScript files to the browser, right? So he made the first server. Tim Berners-Lee has made the first server, and he made the first browser, and he also done something with the HTML files, CSS, and JavaScript that we will see in the next sections. So before we expand this, let's go to the first website that he created. So this is the first website, first ever website. I'll link this in the description. Now, if you talk about this website, it has the World Wide Web, and it is also called, it's basically the text, that's it, nothing else, nothing fancy. And it also has one thing that's called hypertext. These blue underlined things are called hypertext. Means these texts are a part of this whole page, content or text, and this particular word which is underlined in blue, and the cursor is being changed when we hover over these things. These are called links, and they link to other pages of the website. Suppose I click on it, I see the URL has been changed. Now it's a different HTML page, and we can go back and we can get another link, and there's another link, there's another link. So this is how the website worked at the very first time. Right. Welcome back. Now we'll go ahead and find out what are the HTML, what is CSS, and what is JavaScript. So first of all, let's talk about the HTML. HTML is nothing but a way, or it's a language through which we can output the text on the browser. That's it. And the HTML stands for hypertext, HT for hypertext, and M for markup, and L for language. So why we require this language? Because Tim Berners-Lee, when he invented the World Wide Web technology for the very first time, he said that I will create a program called browser, and that browser has been made in such a way that it will understand what exactly HTML language is, and it will understand the syntax of the language, and accordingly it will provide the output on the browser's main page, right? So, and also what he did, that he just created a server, and in that particular server he put some pages, some files, and those files are nothing but HTML files. So let's talk something about the CSS. Now, what is CSS? CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheet. The cascading style sheet is just a way to stylize your HTML. Means whatever your HTML file says, the browser is just going to output the text accordingly. But the text doesn't look good. As you can see, this is the first website created by Tim Berners-Lee, and this doesn't look good. So now we'll go and we'll see what CSS can do. So to do that, I just go to the inspect in Google Chrome, and to inspect, just give a right click and click on inspect, and I'll go to the elements part. See this particular section of this, this is what the HTML, right? And this part is called the style. To black, or let's say brown. Okay, and we'll see the background. We'll say the background should be black. Okay, so see how does the CSS is going to change the look of the website or the HTML. So this is what the CSS does. Now I'll show you the JavaScript. JavaScript is actually a way to change the behavior of the client side, from the client side. Client side means, if I'm saying client side, means this is what the user is visiting, or what is displayed to the user. It's the client side. And if some changes are being made on the client side without refreshing the page means without requesting to the server, from the server, anything before that. If something is being changed on this particular website, it has the user interaction. That's because of the JavaScript. So to show you, I'll go to the console panel here in the inspect element thing, and I'm just writing let's say alert. Okay, and don't worry, you'll get all these things later on, but I'll just say hello world. And when I say enter, you can see there is a pop-up at the very top of the browser, and it says hello world, right? So I just changed some behaviors of the website from the client side without requesting anything from the server, without refreshing the page, right? So this is what the JavaScript can do, and this is very much important. I'll show you the importance on some other page. If you just refresh the page, I just requested the server for the files, and they just send the files, whatever files they are. So actually this is the file in the server, and whatever we have done, we have just done locally on our browser. That's why it just came back to the original as it is on the servers. Now if I go to some other website, suppose, and if you go to any other page, suppose web inquiry, you can see that if I click on this, select it, you can see the calendar over here, and I did not requested the server right now to fetch me this little things. It just happens automatically and without even refreshing the page. So this is what we call the changes in the behavior of the elements in the browser, right? These are elements. Everything is an element in HTML. So these are being changed without even refreshing the page. This is all happening because of the JavaScript.
That was all about this video. Please like and share this video and subscribe to Feesclub Academy. See you in the next video.